You were right with your boomer bust prediction. I was wrong. I saw 9-3 talent against a difficult schedule with possible dysfunctionality coming from the 2020 campaign and maybe some assistant coaches misplaced positionally. So I made the safe call at either 7-5 or 8-4. I don't recall. This game against Iowa. Okay, nobody's going to confuse Iowa with the greatest show on turf or anything like that, but still, and they might be the 5th or 6th best team in the league, but 42-3, nobody else is beating Iowa 42-3. This showed maturity coming off the Ohio State game to be able to regroup, get the next mission, and go and complete it.
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole idea that this would be a letdown. It's the Big Ten championship game, okay? For a program that hasn't won a championship since before most of these players were born. That being said, though, this is a situation that the Michigan program's never been in. I mean, you and I grew up in an era where so much was put into that Michigan-Ohio State game at the end of the year that often the winner would go to the Rose Bowl as a heavy favorite and lose. Because even with 3-4 weeks in between games, it was tough to convince those guys that this game is just as important as the one you just played, right? Well, now you got to come back a week later and do that. And Michigan's never faced that before as a program. So I thought from an execution standpoint, there might be a bit of a slow start. The Michigan coaches, I think they fixed that by calling the gadget play with Donovan Edwards early on that led to a big play, putting J.J. McCarthy in early on to run the zone read and to get the numbers advantage in the run game. And that set up Blake Corum's big run. So by setting their team up, because you saw other than those two plays, Michigan offensively did nothing in the first half. So I like the fact that the Michigan coaches provided big play, explosive play opportunity for their players to get ahead, to still kind of get their feet wet and get into the game from a focus and execution standpoint. And then Michigan made another big coaching adjustment at the half. Iowa blitzed and played a lot more man than they typically do, on a week-to-week basis, basically daring Cade McNamara to beat him. Michigan went to a check with me offense for the whole second half. And then you saw how they were able to make a lot of adjustments at the line of scrimmage to help Cade figure out, hey, here's the hot read. Here's where the ball is going to go. And you just saw a different level of offensive execution in the second half. So I think the Michigan coaches, I think the Michigan players get a lot of credit throughout the course of the year. And Harbaugh has said this for the culture that they put together. And for me as a longtime Michigan fan, I mean, this has always been our best teams have always been player-led. But I think the Michigan coaches, Mark, get a lot of credit for the blitzkrieging of Iowa. They put a game plan together to try to get some sudden shots to get a lead because Iowa doesn't like to play from behind. And from that time forward, it was just a bad matchup for Iowa, Mark. I mean, Iowa likes to play in a mosh pit. We do too. We don't mind doing that, but we just do it with a different level of recruit than they get. And we were just too explosive for them all over the field. Too many athletes. Even on Iowa's first drive, there was a thing of beauty, and they should have scored a touchdown on that halfback option. But, I mean, David Ojabo just single-handedly blew that play up on the edge and forced what ended up being a missed field goal. They just don't have explosion like that at Iowa. And I think that was the difference in the game, is that this year it hasn't always been with the frequency that a lot of us would like. But this year, Harbaugh and his staff have decided to actually take their explosive athletes, and we're not going to turn Rashawn Gary into an anchor. No, we're going to turn Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo both loose. We're actually now letting all these big-time recruits that we acquire every year, we're actually putting them in positions to shine rather than conform to a system.